Yes guys, welcome back to more GBFC. Saturday mornings on this channel are very much about very minimal editing, talking about the weekend that we have got coming up before us. And look, I've loved the last international break. It's been great to see England win 2 games in a row. But the FA Cup, I feel as though this FA Cup quarterfinal weekend is a big one for the FA Cup, for the way that clubs see this tournament, for the stories that are already there and they're basically written in pencil now and we've got to put them in pen. That's the way that I'm going to look at this. We've got 4 fixtures where only one of the teams left in this competition have actually won a major trophy in the past 25 years. We all know who that is, Manchester City. They are serial winners in recent times of the FA Cup, but Aston Villa are still in it. They've not won a major trophy in 29 years. Nottingham Forest haven't won a major trophy in 35. 86 years since Preston won a major trophy when they won the FA Cup. I think it was in the late 30s at some point. And then you've got Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Brighton and Fulham who have never won a major trophy. So I think in terms of like the footballing world and trying to write these narratives and scripts and stories that we actually want to buy into, no one wants Man City to win this weekend. I think unless you're a Man City fan, everybody is rooting for Bournemouth and everyone's rooting for everybody else. And me, for one, I love the FA Cup. I think it is a special trophy. I grew up with it being like a staple. The final would always be on, no matter who was interested in it, whether I was at home with my mum and dad, where I was at my nan's house, my granddad's house, whatever it may be, the FA Cup final was always a special moment, a spectacle. And of course, seeing Roberto Di Matteo score in, what was it, the year 2000, unbelievable memories. Not that I actually really remember it, but when you watch it back, you see Wembley, the old Wembley, going wild. And obviously Chelsea won the first ever FA Cup at the new Wembley with none other than Didier Drogba scoring that goal. But we got some cracking games this weekend. Fulham Palace, London Derby is match number 1. Then, I've got them written down in order, Brighton versus Forest. Then we have got Preston versus Aston Villa and Bournemouth versus Manchester City. And look, international breaks, I'd love Chelsea to be in there, but Brighton are the team that knocked us out. But we begin by talking about Fulham and Crystal Palace. And this is a massive game here because when you're looking at the league seasons of both Fulham and Palace, it's been a very good season for Fulham. It's been about as classic of a Crystal Palace season as you could ever imagine. Bad start, grow into the season, do well towards the end, finish mid-table. It's pretty much a staple on any given Premier League year. But Fulham, on the other hand, they've been very good this year. And I think the fact that Fulham are playing this game at home could well give them the advantage over Palace. The games are going to be done today or the day of the game. There's no replays anymore at this stage of the FA Cup. And I'm going to go with Fulham to knock out Crystal Palace in match number 1. Match number 2 is Brighton versus Nottingham Forest. And obviously, there is so much at stake here for Brighton because they've never won a trophy. They'll look at the teams left and be like, well, we're in the best form of everybody left right now. Man City are the real big boys left in the competition. And if you can avoid them until the final, then I genuinely think any of the teams here could beat Man City based on the way that they've been playing this season. And obviously, I'll predict Man City and whether or not they're going to go through at the end of the video because Bournemouth City is the last game. But for Brighton, they're also going to be very conscious of the fact that they were beaten 7-0 by Nottingham Forest not that long ago. Since that moment, there's a video on this channel where I break this down. Since they lost to Forest 7-0, Brighton have not been, well, they've been unstoppable because I don't think they've been beaten since that 7-0. But they've put themselves in a position where, as much as they've been ticking over, getting better and better, they had a European campaign, but this could end up being their best ever season. And that is after losing countless top players and their top managers. Fabian Herzl has come in, the youngest ever Premier League manager. And if he can guide Brighton to a European spot this season, an FA Cup semi-final at minimum, then this really would be a special season. As for Forest, well, a Champions League spot and winning an FA Cup, like, we're talking here. They haven't won a trophy in 35 years, but this is elevating Nottingham Forest back to those old glory days. And that's why I think this is such a special FA Cup quarterfinal weekend, because a trophy that a lot of the big clubs maybe don't care about as much anymore. Football is very much gone down that path of, well, if it don't make you loads of money, you don't care. So the fact that there is so many great stories that could be written this weekend is making me very excited for this. But I've just got a feeling, right, that Nottingham Forest are going to be able to dig in. I think the way that they beat Brighton, I don't think Brighton are going to be foolish enough again to leave such big holes in the midfield the way they did against Forest. They were overran. That's how Forest smashed them to pieces at the City ground not long ago. But I do think Forest are going to go to Brighton here and win 2-1 away from home. The next game, Preston versus Aston Villa. This, again, massive season for Aston Villa. The league, they're 9th in the league, whatever. It's been about being back in the Champions League for them this year. And the fact it's 29 years since Villa won a major trophy, they're going to be looking at this too, thinking, we're one of the best teams left in this competition. We've got the only championship side left in the competition. And look, Preston, this is a big moment for them. They're 14th in the championship. They're not going up. They're not going down. So everything is about this game. And I don't think there'll be any issues with building the atmosphere at Deepdale for this one. But I do think Aston Villa, off the back of an international break, they're going to have confidence. They're going to be excited to go into Champions League quarterfinals, try and end the Premier League season where it's very open, as high as they can. And I think Villa are going to convincingly win this 3-0 away at Preston. And we finish with arguably the interesting tie of the weekend, Bournemouth-Man City, because it is Man City. Bournemouth have beaten them in this fixture this season at home. They beat them 1-0. They were brilliant on that day. And Bournemouth have never won a major competition. Man City, this is their only chance for a trophy this season. And I've got, the way that I see this going for Man City is if they can win the FA Cup, then I think it kind of gives them a bit of a platform to springboard onto next season, because even in a bad season, if you win a trophy, it kind of reminds you that you've still got something that you're playing for. You know, I think with City this season, it's not necessarily been an outright capitulation like Manchester United, where they're literally closer to being relegated than they are top 4 or anything like that. But it's been so different from Man City. And I think it's been about the motivation. I think when you've won trebles and you're just constantly winning the league, it's difficult to stay motivated. When that squad has been together for so long and you start to take the Mahrez's out of things, and De Bruyne is not as influential as he once was. Bernardo Silva, is he? Haaland. You know what I mean? Haaland's obviously still an amazing striker. But with teams like Bournemouth, who are not going to give you any pressure, are going to give you lots of pressure, not no pressure whatsoever. Bournemouth are going to be all over Man City. And City's desire to be comfortable in possession, to have lots of the ball, to be able to control it. Bournemouth are a team that are going to make that so incredibly difficult. And the question is, right, if Man City go out here, who are the favourites? Is it Aston Villa? Is it Forest? Could it be Bournemouth even? Brighton? It doesn't matter. This is honestly, if Man City do go out, this is such an exciting tournament. Because for me, I think if City get to a semi-final, they're at Wembley, they're at a pitch that they play on almost as often as they play at the flipping Etihad, then I think City will go on and win it. But the key thing is, I don't think City win this. I think Bournemouth are going to beat Man City 2-1 in extra time. And I think they are going through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. So, I've got Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa and Bournemouth in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I don't think City are winning this one. I really don't. Let me know your predictions for the FA Cup games this weekend. And of course, I'll be reacting to some of them on the channel because I'm sure, like I've said at the start and throughout this video, there are some serious stories that will be written this weekend. Thank you guys for watching. I want to ask you, if you are not subscribed to more GBFC, please do. And let me know your predictions for the FA Cup games this weekend in the comments down below. Have a good weekend. I'll see you lot later.